Hello, my wonderful people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on your time zone or anytime you are coming across this platform, Linda's TV show. If it is your first time and you like what we are doing here, after watching this video, kindly subscribe, put on your notification bell to all notifications. In that way, you will be able to know when we upload a new video. I want to appreciate YouTube for creating this wonderful platform which we are using to disseminate information to the members of the public. At the same time, I want to put a disclaimer that here in Linda's TV show, I do not promote violence, I do not promote hate speech, I do not promote misleading information. Myself, I don't like it. We react to all forms of videos. So I also want to remind YouTube that a call for self-determination is never a call for war.
Of the coming together of such eminent Nigerians and scholarly-minded people and warning the Nigerian government, you must have seen something. What did you see?
First of all, we studied geopolitics, and we've been following closely recent transformations in the world geopolitical order. In particular, the transformations in West Africa with 4 countries organizing coup d'etat against democratic regimes, 3 of them changing their strategic partner relations from the West, US and France, to Russia, and the entry of the Russian military into the zone. Clearly, the hegemons that are the United States and France that have held sway in this region since colonial times are extremely upset. But not only are they extremely upset, they urgently need new places to redeploy troops that have been sent out of those countries. Just from Niger alone, you are talking of 1,500 French troops and 1,100 troops from the US. You are talking about the biggest zone station that the United States owns in the entire world was in Agadez in Niger, and now they've been told to pack up. This they use for the surveillance of the entire Sahel North African zone right up to the Middle East. So it's a major strategic blow that has happened to the Americans, and their immediate issue is to relocate these bases, these forces, and this equipment within the region. Of course, they've moved some of their forces to Chad, but they found Chad to be too far to the east as far as much of the central Sahel is concerned. And Nigeria, for them, is a strategic location, which has a 1,600-kilometer border with Niger Republic and is close to the other Sahelian countries. So this is the open source that we all know. But I think in addition to this open source, there have been indications of these discussions with the Gulf of Guinea countries. The current edition of Jeune Afrique, for example, has a detailed report about the agreements being negotiated between the United States and Côte d'Ivoire. 2 weeks ago, we got the reports from the Ghanaian parliament about the memos sent by the Ghanaian president about a base. And we also know that Nigeria has been approached by both countries on this matter. So there is clear evidence that these are the transformations happening in the world, at the world level, and that there are ongoing discussions, and Nigeria is a key target for them because of its strategic location in the region.
For a lot of Nigerians, a lot of people who are watching us tonight will perhaps be wondering, why is the fear of the sighting of a military base in Nigeria? Just to give a clue onto what America defines as a military base. America defines, categorizes its bases into large or small bases. Now, what it means is that when America sites its military base in any region or any territory, it means that they will have boots on the ground. For their large bases, they will have military installations in a space larger than 4 hectares That's about 10 acres of land or worth more than 10 million US dollars. And these bases typically have in excess of 200 US military personnel, boots on the ground, and almost 450 of all the US foreign bases are large bases. The smaller bases, which are sometimes called the lily pads, have smaller than 4 hectares. That's about less than 10 acres of land, and have less than 10 million US dollar worth of military installations of resources. They also will include cooperation of security locations and operation of that site. And they have about 40% of their foreign bases are lily pads, smaller bases. That means that America will have its drones, its military operations, its boots on the ground in those bases. That is a typical. So you have a small American territory in that region. And we have almost 200,000 of such in about 80 countries. And America has almost 400,000 boots on the ground across the globe in their military bases. So for a clearer understanding of what America defines as military bases, perhaps that's a clue. But Prof, give us an understanding why is it dangerous for America to cite their military base? Because in your letter, you cited and you said that it is dangerous for our defense and internal security.
Absolutely, because we know within Nigeria itself, there has been a very high level of terrorism and violence ongoing in the Northeast, in the Northwest, in the North Central, and other parts of the country. We do know we've had a very difficult relationship in the last few months between us and some of our northern neighbors, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso in particular. The third thing we know is that these 3 countries, when they sent the Westerners packing, have set up new deals with Russia. And Russian advisors and trainers are coming into their country. Now, when we leave our traditional foreign policy position, which since 1962 has been non-alignment. Nigeria, since 1962, has always argued we are neither in the West nor in the East. We will pursue our national interest and we will relate with all the parties. That has been Nigeria's position. But from the moment you accept a foreign military base, you are no longer non-aligned. You are directly in one camp. So we are setting ourselves up for a battle with 1,600-kilometer border with Niger and Russian soldiers in Niger. Why are we bringing the Americans to fight a war that's not our war, but their own war? But I think there is a much larger issue of concern for some of us, which is that Nigerians are very proud of their sovereignty. We've always looked down at the Francophones, at countries who are controlled by their old colonial masters, and we've been proud of our own history. Well, we never allowed the United Kingdom to do that to us. Is it now, after 60 years of independence, that we'll now lose some of our sovereignty to a foreign power that's bringing nothing in return? Let me emphasize some of the recent knowledge we have acquired over this matter. When Niger asked the Americans to leave, they released the secret agreement between the United States and Niger. And in that agreement, it is stated in black and white, none of the foreign military boots coming to the ground would report to the Nigerian government, will be known to the Nigerian government. They will be taken straight from the airport to the base. All the equipment that are brought in cannot be inspected by the Nigerian government. No Nigerian government or military official is allowed to visit any of these bases to find out what they're doing. Therefore, they are giving these hundreds of soldiers they are bringing in and the base they are carving out total diplomatic status and protection from our laws. So we've seen in recent times in Japan, it's been an ongoing issue. An American soldier from the base goes out in a town, kills a woman, commits crimes, and the Japanese government has no right to prosecute. It has happened even recently in the United Kingdom when a woman from one of the bases hit and killed a cyclist. The British wanted to take the matter to court. The Americans said, "You've signed a deal with us. Your law does not apply to our personnel. We can do whatever we want and get away with it because we have this agreement." That is the type of agreement the United States have signed with all these countries with which where it has military bases. We as Nigerians are simply too proud and too sure of our own dignity.
But what about the kind of handshake and the kind of support and help that Nigeria has always run to America to get? Former governments in this country have asked them for military hardware. And if we have done that, and they are asking for a sighting of the military base, although the government has denied that they are not having that kind of conversation, do you still think that it is right for Nigeria to think that, yeah, this is the time that we need to now say we are proud people when we have always sought their help?
No. The relationship we've had with them is what's considered a normal relationship. A few years ago, Nigeria requested the purchase of Super Tucano planes from the United States. You remember President Obama refused. When Trump came, he approved the deal. They asked us to pay 3 years in advance, which we did. And after 3 years, they delivered the planes. And those planes have been very useful in terms of the war against terrorism that we have been fighting. So we are not saying don't have any military relationship or cooperation with them. We can have. The position of Nigeria is that because we are non-aligned, we can negotiate and have deals with any country in the world. That's the Nigerian position.
So the role that you and some of your friends have played is the proverbial, what they say in local parlance, that what the elders see on the ground, the young may not see even climbing the tree. And if the government of the day said, we are not having any of those conversations, does that give you some kind of relief?
It does. I'm actually quite happy with the statement released by the Minister of Information that they are not considering this. Of course, they are not going to come out and confess. We've actually been discussing this with them for some time and all that. Government doesn't need to do that. It has to protect its own dignity. So we are not going to go into that. But the fact that they have come out openly to say, we are not doing this, is a big relief to all of us. We had a discussion when the statement came out this afternoon, and we're all pleased with the position taken by the Nigerian government, and Sharon, we should commend them for responding so quickly to a concern by Nigerians over the risky path they might have been engaged in.
Prof, let me ask you, is it possible in Nigeria of today that the Nigerian government could enter, or the military, in conjunction with the leadership of this country, would have entered with any of these countries? We know that the French president, Macron, is a very good president of our president, Bola Tinubu. Is it possible that these countries may enter secretly, covertly, any of this kind of agreement to cite a base in Nigeria without the Nigerian public knowing?
I think in this country, it's always a possibility. But first and foremost, that will be illegal, because the executive can't do such a deal without the approval of the National Assembly. And that's why we wrote both the head of the executive and the heads of the National Assembly, because we know constitutionally they have a right to have a say in such a matter. But you see, I always remember the point the government of Niger made over their own secret agreement. In the constitution of Niger, such foreign treaties had needed the approval of the National Assembly. But under the former president, not Bazoum, but the one before him, they entered into this secret deal and agreed to hide the deal from the National Assembly of Niger. So it's only when Chani released the details that members who are in the National Assembly realize behind their back there has been this deal signed and that it was against the laws of their country because it was a treaty matter which required assent of the National Assembly. So I don't know whether there will be an attempt to do a secret deal here, but I think we must all trust our president since he tells us so clearly that they have no intention of such an agreement. We have to take that at face value. But we will remain vigilant just in case.
Just up until 2018, there was an uproar in close by Ghana about the details of a military base on the Ghanaian soil and similar clauses that you said that operates how you cannot prosecute any of the foreign soldiers on their own soil. And up until June, March of 2022 in Ghana, we're monitoring and seeing what was happening and the reasons why the Ghanaian government will allow for such to happen. And we know that past government in this country have told the Nigerian public that there are some conversations that they will not bring to the public light because they are national security matter. But the government of the day, for example, would you be surprised, Prof, if covertly this government has said this is a national security matter which we cannot brought into national discourse, and we have to have this agreement because Americans have told us, or the French have told us, they will help us to prosecute internal security or to fight our wars in Nigeria. Would you be surprised if you hear that tomorrow?
Well, if that were to happen, I'll be surprised because you see, what's the state of knowledge on this matter? The French have been in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso for 12 years. During that period, terrorism grew. It became completely out of control. Arms to terrorists continued to flow, and they were controlling more and more territory. So this argument that they sometimes make will help you resolve your problem of terrorism. Why haven't they done that in all the other countries where they have gone to so-called help on terrorism?
So it doesn't work.
So we know empirically that it's a false claim that they will help in the fight against terrorism. Then the issue of the government secretly doing a deal, I think this country, we've reached a stage where nobody is afraid of government in Nigeria, and news spreads around. You are a newsman, Sheon, you know that we have ways of finding out what is under secret discussion. But the whole question of saying something is a national security matter. What we are saying is that this is a national sovereignty matter. So if you are losing your sovereignty, that overrides the question of security, and that no country should willingly engage on a pathway where it loses some of its sovereignty. This sovereignty is not the sovereignty of the president, it's the sovereignty of the entire Nigerian people. And we as Nigerian citizens are saying we shall not accept a situation in which our government cedes part of the sovereignty we citizens own and gives another country. That's where we draw the red line.
In 2018, Prof, you can remember President Buhari was criticized for levering rule of law and national security matters. And when he says that the rule of law will bow at some point to issues of national security, and that those who will say, no, the rule of law is above every kind of rule in the country. And so that kind of mentality of that thinking comes to those who are perhaps been in the military would think the cohesion or the security of the nation is far and above every other tendencies. But if this is the stance of eminent Nigerians like yourself, and you've spoken out in this manner, and the government have responded in this way, how far can we go? Because we do know that the military, the U.S. military carried out a very stylized and elite operation some years back on Nigerian soil in the northeastern region of the country under the Nigerian government notice. Whether the Nigerian government was aware or not. And we do also know, the military experts will say, that the American cameras or drones can see so much on the Nigerian soil. So there are a lot that could happen as a matter of handshake. And if Ghana, who is our next door neighbor, has so much of an agreement with the United States, the question will a lot of people be asking, what are we afraid of?
I think
and don't forget their superpower.
Yeah. I'm very conscious of the powers they have. They are hegemons. They have the technology. They have the satellites. They have the drones. They have much more information than we often have. But the reality on the ground is that all that is not enough to do some of the things they want to do if they don't have boots on the ground. And that's why they invest a lot of energy and money to get in some of those bases. And what we are saying is reduce the risk by making sure they don't have that base, they don't have boots on the ground in your country where they can do what they want, irrespective of whether you accept or not. And I think the interesting thing happening, you remember when Niger said the French should pack out. The first response of the French is, we are not going anywhere. We are staying, and you can't send us out. But that country made it clear this is a question of national sovereignty. Citizens mobilized. They surrounded the French military base day in, day out for months, till the French realized, now this country means it. We are not going to be able to bamboozle them. So we better pack our bags and go. So they packed their bags and go. They said they are going to bring planes to pack out their troops. The Niger government said, no, you are not bringing any plane. Enter trucks and travel by road. They said, okay, we'll go to Benin Republic. They said, no, you are going to Chad. We know you can do a lot of mischief. That was how they turned out that. So these countries may be hegemons, they may be very powerful, but when you are in your own territory, you can force them out if you have the will and the determination. That's what I believe.
So when the elders are speaking, they say a word is enough for the wise, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Prof, for joining us tonight. I appreciate the word of caution. What are you folks here for? Even the wisdom and the knowledge that you have over the years, you're using it for the interest of the nation. Thank you so much indeed for your thoughts. And my regards to your colleagues and your friends within the group. What is your group called anyways?
No. We are just friends, and we were discussing this issue. I said we shouldn't just discuss it among ourselves. Let's do a write-up and share it with Nigerian citizens. That's the origin. It's not even a formal group. We are all friends. We know ourselves, and we are just discussing.
Better give it a name.
And we said this is
because they're already tagging you northern leaders because most of you are northerners.
Yeah, I know, and I didn't like that because it's much more a question that we are patriotic and we take the interests of Nigeria seriously.
Maybe I should give you a name. The Nigerian Patriots.
Okay, sure.
Thank you so much, Prof. Appreciate it. We take a break, everyone, and when we return, the internal troubles within the APC get our attention again. APC National Legal Advisor, Professor Abdul Karim Kano, will be joining me. We'll be right back, everyone, to discuss this and more. Everyone, for staying with us. The political arena in Nigeria is ablaze with intrigues and internal strife within the ruling All Progressives Congress APC as pressure mounts on the national chairman Abdullahi Ganduje to exit the office with politics of zoning and balancing of power. Sources reveal that the heat is particularly intense from political heavyweights in Kano State, that is the chairman's home state, and other influential quarters adamant on ushering a leadership overhaul. As the party finds itself at a critical juncture, navigating the treacherous waters of internal discord, questions loom large on the horizon regarding its survival amidst these turbulent times. With factions emerging and allegiances shifting, the resilience of the APC is being put to the ultimate test. Can the party weather the storm and emerge stronger from the crucible of its internal wranglings? to give us some perspectives on what is happening internally, because this also now has some legal implications, because the plan to remove Mr. Ganduje is some kind of procedural and legal manner in which it is happening in Kano. I'm being joined by a professor of law, the APC National Legal Advisor, Professor Abdul Karim Kano, who joins us live here in our Abuja studio. Thanks so much, Prof, for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Why do forces want Mr. Ganduje out of as a national chairman?
Forces? Well, I don't know about forces.
Well, you know what is happening.
I know.
You know about the court cases.
Yeah, well, I know about some random individuals, sporadic here and there.
Are they random? They are world leaders.
They are not world leaders. And they are not the world leaders of the Ganduje ward, and they are not world leaders of anywhere. That we have established. And that was why, from the very beginning, when this information became known to us, the first thing we did was to investigate. And we have a mechanism within the party to confirm when there are such claims. It's a claim that is serious, that an organ of the party would take such a daring decision. So most certainly we will conduct our investigations. And it didn't take long for us to establish that the purported individuals who were said to have suspended the national chairman are not even members of the ward executive committee of the party in Ganduje ward, and are not members of any of the ward ESCOs, as we know. My office decided to go beyond just receiving reports from the respective organs as to the authenticity of the claim. We invited we asked the state working committee to come along with the ward ESCO members to Abuja for us to interview them, and we did. And to our surprise, I insisted they should come with their identity cards and their voters' card. And when they came, we matched their faces against their ID cards and their names, and we discovered that those who had appeared on television making claims that those names belonged to them were not. And that is how serious this matter is. And that was why we did not waste time in bringing in the security operatives and the agencies to carry out investigations as to why those individuals would commit such case of claim identity that does not belong to them. So they are imposters. That's exactly what they are. And we also received a specific complaint, which was addressed to the police from the authentic ward ESCO of the party, the owners of the actual owners of the names. And I think the matter is currently before the police for investigations.
These leaders of Dawa King in the Tofa local government area of Kano State, who came forward to say they've declared a vote of no confidence on Mr. Ganduje, and they have structurally and procedurally, the ward leaders have the right and the powers to remove any member.
No, they do not. The Constitution is very clear that first of all, there are offenses that are contained in the Constitution which could amount to penalties, will lead to some penalties imposed on members. And the offenses are many. And also there are penalties, one of which is suspension, expulsion, debarment from holding any office, etc., etc. Now, those penalties are penalties that can be imposed after a full completion and exhaustion of the procedure. That's procedure within the Constitution, as provided by the Constitution. I mean here that the procedure from A to Z, which is required for trial of a person, right to fair hearing, for him to appear, and sending the report of the offense he has committed to the National Working Committee, etc. All those procedures must be exhausted for such penalties to be imposed. But as a pending penalty, in other words, as a penalty pending completion of the investigation, no organ of the APC has the power, none, to suspend any member pending investigation
except the National Working Committee
of the party.
Only the National Working Committee of the party can suspend a member pending completion of an investigation.
Oh, since such a removal happened in the past in your party?
Well, that was before the amendment of the Constitution. If you may recall, there was an amendment of the Constitution in 2022, and the amendment took care of those, because you cannot allow the destiny of a party to lie in the hands of two or three individuals.
What happens with the Govt trial that the Kano government is levying against the national chairman, which is the basis and a part of the reasons why these folks say they want Mr.
I would have loved to respond to this if the individuals who purportedly suspended the chairman were the authentic and the genuine ESCO members, but they are not.
Why did the party come out to say this is political in nature?
Well, because the individuals who perpetrated this act of claiming identity that isn't theirs are not our party members. And within that community, they are known to be members of the NNPP.
So NNPP want to destabilize your party. Is that what is going on?
Well, they are trying to scratch our skin, to accept that they are capable of destabilizing our party. I mean, our party is more serious than that. They're scratching our skin and we're taking care of it.
What would be the benefit of, because there must be a benefit for someone who is planning to unsettle a ruling political party. They have only one state under their control. Why would NNPP, for example, what does your party think, politically speaking, would be the reason why NNPP would want to destabilize the APC?
I will tell you that legally speaking, there will be consequences. I am a lawyer for those actions, and eventually we will follow through to ensure that those who are responsible for these acts are brought to book. Politically, I'm not from Kano, but I'm sure politicians in Kano will know what to do in a circumstance like this, where individuals who do not belong to our party will attempt to make an incursion of this magnitude. And of course, we have superior members, officers of the party. Elders of the party will also decide on what to do regarding such actions of outright outsiders who would make attempts at destabilizing or causing some offset in our party. What I can assure you is that they're not making any progress.
I mean, this is fundamentally a kind of politics, as some experts or some observers have alluded, that this is a game, is a war between Kwankwaso and Abdullahi Ganduje. Do you think so?
Well, I'm not from Kano, but I've heard analysis from prominent Kano politicians who say so. So I may want to believe that it is indeed a local politics which is running its neck, attempting to create a problem within our party, perhaps.
So, I mean, the question is, to what benefit for those who are alleging that Mr. Kwankwaso is behind all of these? To what benefit would this be for Mr. Kwankwaso? Is it to reduce the influence of Mr. Ganduje ahead of the 2027 election, or what exactly do in your own mind? Because as far as you're concerned, you're not only a lawyer for the APC, you're also a politician. To what end?
Well, I agree with you. Of course, I've heard my chairman speak on this matter, and it was covered by the channels. And I would believe his analysis of the situation, that the idea is to demystify him going forward towards the next elections in the state, and possibly impact on his influence, which is looming, and I would believe that what the chairman said.
So in all of this situation, what is the issue, the rift between Mr. Ganduje and Mr. Kwankwaso? I mean, he was a deputy governor to Mr. Kwankwaso when Mr. Kwankwaso was governor.
Yeah.
I mean, why would there be such a rift, as much as those who are alluding that these two men, the political, whatever is going on, is a political rift that is going on between, and the storm is about the rift between both men?
Well, I know His Excellency Ganduje is my chairman. I've worked with him for some months, and I see him as a father, and he displays it in all ramifications. He's a very responsible leader, from the little I've learned about him, and he makes effort to carry everybody along in the course of his activities within the party and beyond. And he's a very experienced administrator, and we're seeing the quality of his service within the party. But As for what may have led to the total collapse of relationship between him, or seeming collapse of relationship between him and Kwankwaso, I really can't say. These are two politicians who have come a long way, and I don't know His Excellency Kwankwaso well, so I can't begin to make comments on a person I do not know so much. But what I know is that they have come a long way, and I think it is pure politics at play. And at some point, I am confident that they may likely find themselves at a point of convergence in which issues may be resolved.
So why, I mean, if externally the APC is blaming Kwankwaso, NNPC for his woes, what about those who are pushing for the North Central? They're asking Mr. Ganduje to exit and a North Central person to take over. Legally speaking, what is the place of that?
Well, because
they are saying that traditionally, that seat is for a North Central person.
Well, I don't know about traditionally, but I know about the powers of the National Executive Committee of the party, and I know about the powers of the National Convention. I know that a chairman was elected in a convention, and the chairman had resigned at some point, and the NEC was charged with responsibility of ensuring there's no vacuum, because they see even nature and law oppose vacuum. And to avoid the vacuum, NEC must decide. The constitution of the party is clear that in between conventions, the National Executive Committee exercises the powers of the convention. And this power is without reservation, no limitations. And therefore, in circumstances of emergency like this, in terms of extremity, there's absolutely no legal wrong within our constitution for the NEC to have taken the decision that it took to rezone the chairmanship to another zone, and then and then accept a nomination from another state of a candidate to replace the office of the chairman. I do not see any legal wrong with what has happened at all. In fact, if anything, I would say that the Constitution clearly paves the way and supports those actions of the National Executive Committee of the party.
How does your party get out of this quagmire right now? Because it's faced with all of these, both internally and externally. In the face of it, the country is battling and trying to get its feet under the Tinubu government that will be celebrating or marking its first year in office. And here you have it. The party that sponsored the president is in total shambles and have internal wranglings. How does the party get out of this?
First of all, I will start with the last statement. I don't know about internal wranglings. It will be internal wranglings if there's an uprising from a defined organ of the party. We have a party that is structured. It's a system from the units to the wards, and each has a representation in form of an executive committee, to local governments, to zones within the states, to the state working committee and state executive committees, and then to the national zone, the geopolitical zonal committees of the party headed by the vice chairs, and of course the national working committee and the NEC of the party. And I do not, and I have not seen any representation of this enchantment with the way and manner the party is being run from any of these organs. If one or two individuals who, for reasons best known to them or for whatever motivation, decide to go to the press and claim there are issues, I mean, anyone can do that. I can go and then call media and say I'm disenchanted. People do that about Nigeria every day. People do that about political parties every day. But that does not mean that there's indeed any internal problem within the party. Our party is intact and we have no problems within the party. And as for the...
Well, you say you don't have issues in your party, but yet you have cause to run to Kano and back to Abuja and trying to resolve and investigate. And you said these are not issues.
It's not issues within the party. It's issues by some individuals, but it's not issues within the party. I do not see it at all. I'm busy, yes, trying to see that as much as possible, persons who are trying to create problems from the outside, we stop them, but then there's no problem within the party. It will be a problem within the party if there's a problem within the chairman, between the chairman and the president. It will be a problem within the party if the chairman has a problem with the members of the National Working Committee. It will be a problem within the party if the National Working Committee has a problem with NEC or with the state working committees. It will be a problem with the party if any governor of the APC had come out to express disenchantment with the manner in which the party is being run. And that's the situation. All these organs I have mentioned and the respective offices I have mentioned have continued to express satisfaction with the performance of the party. So we have no internal problem within the party. There are individuals who are making noise, yes.
So how does your party get itself out of all of this? Because as far as is concerned, there are energies pushed towards these issues. And of course, it's some kind of getting the eyes of the leadership of the party from the ball and the main issues.
I am a student of political science, and I know conflict theory. Ours is the ruling party. Crisis will never, people will never stop attempting to create problems. And it is my responsibility as National Legal Advisor to ensure that those crises are warded off as soon as they start. And I can assure you that for as long as we remain a ruling party, there can't be total, absolute quiet. So these things that we're seeing, I think, I'm not surprised, it's expected, and we're handling them appropriately, sir.
Give us an understanding of some of those issues that people have raised, Edo, Ondo election, and those legal issues that people have also raised. What is the party doing in those respects after the post-primary issues?
Well, the Edo election has come and gone. We are preparing for the general elections. The people of Edo, the party in Edo State, have elected a candidate who bears our flag at the moment. And we almost had 1 or 2 persons who went to court, but they had pulled out and would filed notice of discontinuance from court. And at the moment, we do not have any legal issues in court regarding the elections. All issues are settled, particularly after the timely and robust intervention of His Excellency Mr. President to resolve all the different segments within the party in Edo. And for Ondo just ended. I'm not aware of legal issues because I have not been served with any court process to indicate that indeed anyone is legally disenchanted with the process that was conducted in Ondo. Not yet. I've not been served with any. I have read in the papers, of course, where some persons were claiming that INEC said there was no election. That is not the report before the party. The report on the party says otherwise. And I haven't seen the purported INEC report to authenticate whether those claims of INEC saying there was no election in Ondo is true. I haven't seen the report, apart from what I read in the social media and the papers this morning. I think that's where we are.
How firm is the leg of your national chairman on the seat?
How firm? The Constitution says that the chairman or any officer of an organ will stand removed, or his seat will likely shake. I mean, you are going by what you have said. If there is a vote of no confidence passed by 2/3 of the organ. To the contrary, the National Working Committee overwhelmingly passed a vote of confidence on the chairman. So his legs are firm.
I wish you and the party the very best in the coming days. You will need a lot of wishes of luck.
We are doing what we need to do to ensure that we do not only carry on running the affairs of the party, but the party also carries on running the affairs of the country for a victory for Nigeria.
Professor Abdulkareem Kano is a professor of law and the National Legal Advisor of the All Progressives Congress, APC. Thank you most sincerely for your time tonight.
I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me, Shion.
Thank you so much, my wonderful viewers, for watching this video together with me from the beginning to the end. Like I said before, if you like what you see here, if you like what I do in this platform, as you have finished watching this video, please hit that red button that says subscribe and put on your notification bell to all notification. In that way, you'll be able to know when I upload a new video. Share my videos, leave your comments in the comment section constructively. Until I meet your way again in my next video, I still remain your Linda's TV show. Bye-bye.